YouTube, welcome back to another video. I thought I would talk about two instruments that I just brought back to life, not by doing the work, but by taking them to, somebody who would do the work. It's my fault, okay? Anyway, first instrument up today is this Holton TR-158 that I got in pretty beat up condition a while back. It was technically playable, but it wouldn't have been for any kind of long amount of time. The valve knuckle here was nice and crunched. The bell's kind of sad because of that. It was very close to the slide, and the slide was in like several pieces. The connector right here, the ferrule over the brace, I know the names of these things, were not soldered together, so the whole slide could just like move and get wider or narrower. And the crook, if you remember, was totally bashed in. It was not quite flat, but like nearly flat. And I thought it had a hole in it, and none of that was true. John, my tech, brought it completely back to life, which is super cool. I thought I was going to have to get like a new crook, put all this money into it, and no. He just used everything that was here and brought it back to life, put the slide back in alignment. It's not amazing, but it is completely usable. I would use it. Again, I'm not the most picky person on the planet, but I have to have a slide that works, and this works. Valve is fine. The valve knuckle has been brought back to life and is at the correct angle. And tuning slide looks a lot better now, even though it's not in perfect shape. And I removed the lacquer from most of the bell and also polished it. And it doesn't look amazing because it's got all these little scratches. I don't know what these scratches are from. I guess from stuff like banging around in the case, because I guess they're kind of not down here. I don't know what makes these scratches happen. Like, I can imagine things. They're just so uniform and so over like the entire instrument that it's like someone put it in a clothes dryer with like a bunch of nickels or something. It's such a strange thing. Anyway, the scratches didn't really go away, but it did polish up pretty well. I honestly couldn't tell if I took the lacquer off because it looked the same, and there were no like sheets of lacquer coming off when I did it. There's still some lacquer up here. It's kind of hard to see because the color is just a little bit different. And when I polished it, that stayed there. That's obviously lacquer. I'll try and get all the rest of it at some point. But it is really difficult on some of these lacquers. Anyway, this horn is back in great shape for what it started at. And obviously, some of you remember my Holton TR-258. Same thing with a screw bell. This is a little bit later instrument because it has the medallion counterweight brace thing. They only started doing that maybe in the 80s. I honestly have no idea. And I did not look at the serial number of my 258, so I could not tell you by the serial numbers if this is a later horn. But based on that, I'm pretty sure this is. This does most of the things that horn did, which was a very good instrument, but also does some things better. The other horn had a great principal register, the kind of range above the staff, playing loud, playing with a big sound. It did that really well. And of course I did not play this at all today, so it feels very strange, but maybe you get the idea. I can just kind of feed it air and the horn just goes, all right, I'm going to play larger, I'm going to get fat, I'm going to have this nice color to it. Feels really good up there, just like the 258 did. But also, the low range on this is better. The 258 had not a great low range. Using the valve, or even playing kind of like B flat and below, the sound did not carry down like it does on some instruments. This, it's not perfect, but it is better down there. I have to think about what notes I'm playing. You get the idea. I did not get that kind of character out of the 258. So this seems like an all-round, actually a little bit better instrument. And a little bit better balance because it does not have the screw ring at this end. So, very happy about that. Probably going to sell this to a friend Did not cost a lot of money, so I'm probably not going to charge her a lot. And I think it'll be a pretty good horn for her uses. Really happy with how this came out. Also have another instrument that I had pretty much given up on in stock form, and that is my King 608F. I got this for really cheap, like a few weeks ago. Played a little bit, and I was like, why is this not very good? I played my 607F kind of a lot. Used it for a few gigs. Enjoyed it, but it kind of was just higher effort than my 3Bs, and I sold it to a friend. They're going to do some really cool stuff with it. This one is in way better shape. I mean, it is as close to new as I'm going to get for the price I got it. There's some missing lacquer here, and obviously it was used by a student for a little bit, but not a lot. It is in very, very good shape, but it just didn't play that well, and it did not sound very good. It always had this kind of like small, wide character to it, where it sounded like a small instrument, but just the sound was going farther in every direction than like a 3B, and did not have the warmth that my current 3BF does, which is one of my favorite sounding instruments. And I was confused, because this is basically the same, bigger valve, bigger slide. Why would it be different? Well, I got some Edwards lead pipes, a 1, 2, and 3 in 525 bore, and I had my tech put them in. As in, I had him put in the bi-thread connector from Instrument Innovations, which gives me the ability to use all 3 of those lead pipes. And what we found when we pulled out the old lead pipe is it was a 2-piece lead pipe, much like the modern King 3B, where on top of this, there's a mouthpiece receiver, and then that is soldered into the lead pipe, which is not usually how lead pipes are made. Most lead pipes are 1 piece, where the lead pipe goes all the way up until the end, and the mouthpiece just goes straight into that. So there's just 1 tube, and this is a ring that you would screw into the trombone, of course. The 2-piece lead pipes are a little bit different. It's more like a trumpet, where you have a thing that the mouthpiece goes into, and then you have a lead pipe. So just 2 separate entities going on, and so there's kind of like a gap between the end of the mouthpiece and the start of the lead pipe, and that's not necessarily a problem. The King 3B sometimes, like the one that I have, plays really well with a 2-piece lead pipe, and it's not necessarily the largest thing on the planet. It just works. I really like my 3B. We took this out and I measured it, and it is like the smallest lead pipe that we've ever seen. This is smaller in every way except for the end, of course, than a King 2B lead pipe, which is an instrument way, way, way smaller on the size spectrum. I don't know what's going on. I have a feeling it's just one of those things where they're like, well, students are going to play these, and we want it to be easy to play, and so they just make the lead pipes really small and restrictive, and that's it. I did notice on my 607 and this when I got it, that the high register was there, but you had to play it just right. And if you tried to play it loud, it didn't really work. It would just kind of back up, and that's why I stopped using the 607 at work. I couldn't play the high loud stuff like the small bore tenors, and my 3B does that just fine. This was the same, but it was way worse than that. I wasn't having fun playing it, and I didn't like the sound it made, so I just put it away. And the Edwards lead pipes brought it back to life, 100%. This is a completely different instrument. Not only the fact that the whole slide geometry has had to change to get this on, but it just plays so much better now and sounds completely different. Probably a little flat. I don't know where to tune this at all. I've only played it just a little bit to test all the lead pipes a couple days ago, and I was just blown away at how different it is now. This is the 1 lead pipe, the smallest one. I usually assume that 2 is going to be the best because it is on every other instrument that I've ever played that has exchangeable lead pipes. What I found, though, is that the 1 kind of gets the best character and the best playability out of the instrument. I like like the high range. It feels like it pops. Sounds good. It's in tune. But the low range is also pretty good. It feels like my 3B, but just a little beefier, just a little larger. The 2 lead pipe didn't really work. Kind of got a weird sound. Doesn't seem to play anywhere that easily. Not a huge fan of it. The 3 lead pipe kind of does the same things as this. The same things as this, but just sounds way bigger. So if I want to play in a more legit setting, I'd probably get the 3 lead pipe. For what I usually do, I think the 1 is a good match. I'm really excited to try this out. I might take it to work soon. We'll see. I'm enjoying the 3B, so I might not. But this lead pipe change made such a massive difference that I have to recommend if you're looking for a 608, a 607, apparently there's a 609 as well, that you change the lead pipe, because unless you play it and you love it and it works everywhere for you, I have a feeling new lead pipe is going to make a massive difference. And that's the only change. Put in a new lead pipe, everything else is stock. I mean, I've cleaned it and lubed it, and that's it. And the horn just got 1,000% better with this. So that's 2 instruments, both with red bells, that were brought back to life recently. Really happy about that. Keeping this for the moment. The Holton is probably going to get sold soon because I honestly just don't need it. And might have some really cool instruments coming in the near future. That's all I got. Bye-bye.